Well, I have a working shed right now, which is so nice. I'll take you through a tour of it once I kind of get everything organized. But today, it's time for step 3, maybe also step 4. I might put these two together because I'm kind of going to be working out here today. As long as it doesn't rain, which we also need, so I'm not going to worry about that too much because I could use about 4 inches of rain right now, probably. Let's talk about step 3 and 4. Alright, I can't leave you hanging that much. So a quick tour here. This is what I'm going to call Mower's Row. Have everything in there. There's a bunch of stuff just all over the place right now, so don't mind that. I've got a new sprayer to test out, as you can see right there. And back here is what we call the wall of Milorganite and whatever else, fertilizer and everything that goes there. And then of course I have my sprayer and my little old school, I'm gonna start calling that old school because everyone makes fun of me for still having that little old spreader, but it seems to work okay. Then back here we just have our kind of what I'm calling my work shelf. So it's got pretty much everything on it right now, all my chemicals that I use, and I'll be kind of doing a little bit of organizing as we go to see what I need through here. But over in this area where everything is a mess still, all of our extra pieces from the shed and all that building stuff, that's going to be a little bit of workbench. So I was originally going to put it under the other window, but I decided not to do that. Some people left me some good comments and said, you know, you're going to have your face in the sun all the time, you're going to be looking into the light. That was a very good point. So over here is going to be my little workbench, and I found something that I think I'm going to like for that, but that's coming in the future. But it's time for the matter at hand today, and that's going to be scalping off the yard that's dead, and then probably also dethatching it. We're going to be using the Honda today to do that, so I'm going to get this thing ready. So essentially now we need to get rid of all of that dead grass that's on top of there. So prepare yourselves, this can be quite a dusty and dirty job. What I need to do here first is take off these blades because I don't want to use my good blades to go scalping the grass and ruining them. So I do have a set of old blades that have quite a few chips in them that I'm going to use. Doesn't matter, I don't need to worry about them at all, so I'm going to switch those out. Does anyone else do this where you never remember what size you need to use on these things and all you have to do is write it down but you never do it? So every time I open up this toolbox, I'm like, I wonder what size that is on that Honda. All I need to do is write it down, but I don't do it. Alright, there we have it. Should be 9/16, which I will write down this time. And yes, people, I also removed the spark plug wire, so don't freak out. Alright, there's my old set of blades as I mentioned. Just gonna put those on now, and we don't have to care at all about ruining them, getting them chipped up or anything like that. My other set needs to be really sharpened anyway as I prepare to do this renovation, so it's a good time to change those out and sharpen them. And it's always a good idea to have an extra set of blades on hand if you can. It helps out a lot. Okay, so I'm going to be using the bagger today. We want to try to pick up all these clippings as much as we can, get them off the lawn. Now, with how dry this is, would it probably mulch it into oblivion? Yes, it probably would. However, you just don't want to lay that back on top of the ground because we're trying to remove all this stuff so that we can seed down into the soil. And then when we seed, if you weren't adding any topsoil on top of it, which I'm going to be adding some things over top, if you weren't, you were going to seed right into this, then you would need to make sure that you can see a bunch of the soil because you need good seed to soil contact. Let's go scalp some grass. So we're done with that process, and first off, I'd say it really wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. It wasn't really that dirty and dusty. But let's take a look here at kind of what it looks like now in some various spots. It really didn't get down to dirt level as much as I thought it might. So that's going to come in here where we're going to have to do that dethatching. And this is going to be important because, again, as I said, if you're not seeing the soil and my grass was pretty thick to begin with, then you're throwing seed on top of there. Now, it could make its way down into the soil, but that's still not really the greatest way of making sure that you have seed to soil contact. So let's pull out a dethatcher. This part actually could get a little messy, but that's okay. That's what we're here to do. Alright, so I ran out of SD card there, so I had to go in and dump some footage off and come back. But let's take a look here at what I just finished, that little area kind of by the boulevard there. I'm telling you, this tool is, you might not think you really need something like this, and you could always go rent something, but for the times that I've used this thing, it just works so well. I don't think it's really that expensive of a tool, so if you have the space maybe to get one and you think you're going to use it in the future, I would really suggest getting this thing. It's been really helpful for me in various renovations that I've been doing. This spring I did my bluegrass in my backyard, and it worked for that as well, but really when it comes to renovations is when I really like to use this tool. So again, just look at what it ripped out of there. You can now see down to the soil, and then I picked up all the clippings and everything with my Honda, so let's do some of the main area now. Okay, well that part definitely did get a little dirty and dusty. Now that that's done though, I've removed quite a bit of all that dead stuff that was in there. You can see down to the soil, and you can really tell now exactly where the high spots are and the low spots. So when I come in here and I'm going to add some topsoil over top of everything, try to level it off as best as I can. This kind of helps me as well to kind of see where those spots are at and kind of level things off. So again, that dethatching machine, I really love that thing. It really works well. Now, if you had a huge yard that you were trying to renovate, it might take a little bit of time and you might be better getting like a power rake or renting something, but it's whatever you're willing to do, and it really does a great job, I think, for the price of it. So check that out. I'll have a link to that. It's supposed to rain tonight. I'm crossing our fingers here. So that's hopefully going to soften things up a little bit. Otherwise, I'm going to need to water it a little bit because it's still pretty hard from lack of rain lately. So that's pretty much the process. If you guys have any questions, let me know in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.